Hi, I'm back. Now, what we're going to talk about now is what I call phase one and phase two, and then there are some other phases down the road. But if you listen to my recording a few back about, well, if you listen to my previous recording that discusses deity and the basics and the preamble and all of those, then I've already discussed about talking about what we need to do in the purpose and the mission. Mission is the healthy black family from here on out. And also, the goal mission is to make other races of people irrelevant to our real well-being, because we will have our stuff so together that they can't touch us, none of us. So when I decided on that, it was way back in the 90s. I read and I stumbled upon Francis Welsing and J.A. Rogers back in the 1990s, 91 to be exact. And within those last 5 or 6 years in that 90s, when I was researching and reading and listening and watching, I found that wasn't a lot of people out there doing that. So I backed off. I still put my brain on receive, but I backed off and shut up because it was just like yelling into a barrel. All I could hear was my own echo. I could find a few people that were there, but not a lot. And then suddenly I wanted to check back on things to see how it was done. I found a lot of folks. So back in the 90s, about 93, 94 or so, um, I was really excited about this stuff, but I was in college, and college kids or college individuals are excited and passionate, but it wasn't outside in the real world. It was just in the classrooms, and these are the black orientated studies of black students, with myself included, with black teachers and black students. And we were excited about this new knowledge and information coming out that we were just finding. It was like an explosion of information, but it was confined to those classrooms. Other people didn't get it. And so that's when I decided there were phases. And phase one was get the knowledge out. I just marked done on phase one. Phase one is done. We have done the minimum to meet the criteria for phase one. The knowledge is out. They got it. Enough people got it. There's people in California on the street corners bitching, talking, yelling at each other, yelling, to the passerbys. I'm talking about I think they're out in California. Number, I don't usually drop names, but I'm gonna put them in a group. All of them. I'm gonna name some names and these are names for you to look at and listen to and read and research and upload and plenty of information. So I'm satisfied with getting the knowledge out. So among the people I listen to, like Red Pill, Blue Pill, apparently they're twins out in somewhere. I think out west or in northeast. There's so many. The guy Sonetta Studios, Dr. Umar Johnson, Dr. Boyce Watkins, the Ali, I want to say Zaza Ali, and sisters, what's her name, Valentine. Um, Mr. Fuller has his station. Mr. Tariq Nasheed, Sin, CYN, I think her name is, she might go by the name Cynthia G. General, Sarah Sutton Seti, Young Pharaoh. I could go on and on and on and on. They have all read this stuff I'm talking about. They have all done their research and kicking it in the butt. They are all jumping out there. All you got to do if you want to begin is to listen and um, read some of their writings. Look at the Hidden Color series by Mr. Tariq Nasheed. Listen to the videos and YouTube and all of that. It's all out there. So I done checked off the get the knowledge out phase, because that's done. Now we're in phase two, and this is controlling your future or getting a hold of your future. And phase two is a long phase. Phase two, I got down here, control your future by controlling yourself. That's right. White people, our biggest the biggest instrument white people are using to hurt us is us. The purpose of phase two is for us to stop hurting ourselves, and that's how you get control of that, such as stopping our own personal destructive habits. This is the easiest thing to do for phase two. The easiest thing. Yeah, it's not going around marching. That's not helpful. Marching is just dispelling energy. It's not going to do anything. That's why you're able to do all of the marching and shouting. That's a distraction. That's not helping. People, they're ready for you to march and shout. They got streets paved for you to march and shout. Um, People who don't really want nothing done are marching and shouting. We've got to stop being their best tool or their best instrument. So we've got different levels of ourselves among ourselves. Um, we got people who are their agents of destruction. So they don't, rather, they don't think of themselves as an agent of destruction, but they are. I'm going to list some rules and that we all can begin to get a hold of. This is going to be helping us purify ourselves a little bit so we can do logical things, because right now we do have a mental virus uploaded, and it's hard to fight the virus when you don't have the right tools. And among the right tools is the right self, the right ingredients. One of the right ingredients is a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit. So I'm going to read this off to you. Control your future by controlling yourself. Phase two, part one is stop the destructive habits such as over drinking, drugs, over sexing, overspending, like your tennis shoes, designer objects, etc., overeating, the crime, the sloth, the bad manners, rude, arrogant, nasty, displaced anger, mean behaviors. Phase two, part two is don't adopt any new white friends. Do not adopt any new white friends. Please phase out the white people that phase out the white people that at work and that work your nerves. Try not to socialize with white people. Hearts are not in the right place at the right time. The nice white people are not able to stop the mean ones. Don't befriend white people. Don't befriend people who are dating white people. Do not let white people into your home if you can help it. I can't prove it, but I swear the new racism started because white people saw how well we were living, even though we had next to nothing. And there's no reason for folks to know what's in your house. So these are the that's what phase two, part one and two are, and they're all in labeled by alphabet. That's the overview. So let's look at phase one. I mean phase two, step one. Stop the destructive habits like you're over drinking, drugs, over sexing. Let's look at over drinking. Over drinking is just self evident. It's A, spending a lot of money, and B, getting you in trouble. So there's no need to do that. I used to drink a lot. I used to party. That's what I did. I loved that. And I still do, but I don't have to drink to do it. I was one of the ones that was always on the dance floor, and I always had a positive time partying. And I still do. Love to dance. Well, not so much now. I'm older. I'm a little old lady now, but back then I did. I danced. I never did do heavy drugs. I do look at people who I've seen that I suspect are on drugs, and they aren't happy. So you can back off of that. Oversexing is a big one because it's like the only form of relief you got. But if you think about it, all that isn't going to help anything. It's going to hurt anything, and it's a distraction. So y'all pumping away, but it's not with the appropriate person. It's, it's not something that's going to be long term or healthy or even making you happy. You're just running in there, humping a while, and then jumping off. It's almost rudimentary at times, And I know it because I see people who want to have sex. They're asking for sex, and you know that it's going to be a rudimentary bump. And that's not enough. We got to think better of ourselves than that. You see the little guys out there telling the little girls that they want to, do all these things to them. And I'm an old school player, and I wouldn't have a man who says such things to me. And girls got the power to control that. And I mean, I'm a single female now, but that's because I turned down proposals of marriage. I think I had, I think I had like 20 something, almost 30 something proposals of marriage in my lifetime. I think my max year was like 8 proposals in one year. A lot. It was a bunch. And I want to say 22, but I think I had some more after I did that 22 cutoff count. So what I'm saying is that men are proposed to you and they want to marry you if you're the right woman that they want to be with. I think they kind of knew in their heart I was going to say no, but they really wanted me to marry them. And I was one well loved female. There were men that loved me with all their being. I'm still a player though. uh, I didn't want to do all that mushy stuff, but I did like to have sex and be around them. But I never oversexed. You know, you could see me on the weekend when I'm ready to have my company manners. And I was always out in the clubs, always dancing. And I would be out in the club with men all around me, having fun talking to all of them, just having a ball. I only sexed with one at a time, though, over a period of time. I didn't, like have a lot of different partners because I really wanted to take care of my body. You don't get to take you don't keep your body in tip top shape when you're using it, have it being used by men who didn't take care of it, and as a minimum you had to take care of yourself. You can't fool around with men who don't take care of themselves. So any man that would date and have sex with the woman they just met is a man that's not thinking very much of himself. He thinks more about that hump than himself, his body. That's what I'm talking about, oversexting. It's a form of destructive behavior because you don't care. And no woman who's cares about herself should fool with a man who doesn't care about himself. And bumping when y'all haven't established the rules or even the kind of person you are isn't healthy for either one of you. That's why you wind up going your separate ways because you never knew each other. You never cared about each other. You never trusted each other. Unfortunately, many times there's a baby involved with parents going in different directions, bouncing on somebody else. You can't do that anymore. No more of that. It's not working. It's always better to have a two-parent family raising the children. I don't care how well the moms are, or the fat fathers are, the single parents are. It's still better to have both parents who are healthy and liking each other and loving each other, raising the children in the same household. I've seen both kinds of households. I assure you, the loving parents who are raising the children have the better household. Even though the single parent who might have a lot of money and well able to take care of it, they're not as viable and healthy in the household as the one with the two-parent families. And it's just so. Once I was with my cousin in the car. My aunt had asked me to take her somewhere, and the child is this cousin is a child of a two parent family, and we both were waiting at the stoplight, and there was this single mother pushing a cart by herself early in the morning, and I said to her, "There's no way your father would let your mother be out in the wee hours of the morning pushing you in a cart. That's why you want to be double." And she said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "Okay, so that's the difference between a single family home and a two parent home." And she said, and she was grateful because she says, "I know, I see," and she did. She got it. She got it, and she was about 11 years old. It was easy to see. That's the kind of stuff. It's I can go on and on and on, but if I had my choice, I was raised in a single parent home, but we had an extended family, but I still would have liked to have the male parents in the household. Wait a minute, stop overspending, like your tennis shoes or designer objects, etc. I We all know that's stupid. So that's money that's going out of the community and not coming back. It's stuff that you're paying $300 and $400 for that took $20 to make in some foreign country. An option would be us learning clothes making skills in our community and wearing them and selling them. Have a little tailor shop or a clothes making shop in the community where people will come and buy your clothes that you made. I would love that. I would wear the heck out of some black person that makes clothes. There's this man that I work with. He comes in these little tailor-made outfits that his friend makes for him that he buys. Everybody loves these outfits. I love these outfits. I threaten to steal his clothes every day because these are some cool looking black man clothes. I have a friend from Africa that I work with. He comes in these African Western suits where that they're gorgeous. Just Western style African. You can see Africa all over them, but they're pants suits that guys wear. I used to have this friend of mine who husband was a tailor, and he made her outfits. They were gorgeous. He wanted to go do something else, kind of sewing junk, but we kept wanting the clothes. He wanted to make something, some bright idea, something that found, but it wasn't something we wanted. He was going for something Western, but no, we wanted those outfits. So what I'm saying is that there are some options there, and I would love for a neighborhood tailor to be making clothes, hanging them up in the window. I'd go get them. I want somebody to be making shoes, a black person making shoes. I would buy your shoes, as long as they don't cost no bunch of money. But if they cost equivalent or even a little more than a regular person's regular shoes that you can get, I would be on it. And I'm pretty cheap with shoes. I don't buy designer shoes. I buy comfortable shoes that I think are cute. And I have a set price, which is about like $60 for a pair of shoes in 2016. Ladies' shoes. Now I ain't paying a lot. I have a fetish for nice bags, but I don't buy Coach. I buy bags that I like, and they're cost. If I pay $60, I have paid way more than I usually do because my average bag is about $40. And they're just at your little Targets and Sears and Pennies and stores like that. It's not Coach. It's not whoever else these big designers are. I just want a cute bag with a lot of pockets so I can put the stuff I need in them because they're organizer bags. I can sling it on my shoulder and get on the subway. I don't care if it doesn't have bag jewelry or a fancy name. I just want it functional. But what I want more than that functional bag is for a black person to make it with the pockets I want and all those things. I would love to buy that. So if you're going to be designer, then you be the designer, okay? If you're going to buy designer clothes, let yourself be the designer. We will come to you. If they're cute and not overly expensive, don't try to put your kid through college on one outfit, selling one outfit, but do make some stuff that's cute and viable that we can see and wear and look at. I'm cool with that. So be aware of the overspending. My other fetish is buying books. If you listen to my previous recordings, you'll see how we think about books. I won't say nothing about overspending on books. Go for it. Overeating. That's one that I do. I've got to work on that. So we all got to work on something, but stop overeating. I believe that not only is overeating a problem, but the quality of the food that we're getting is a bigger problem. I see people who run around and exercise and eat right all day and still don't look healthy. So that tells me something else is wrong. I think that we have a adulterated food supply that's poisoning us. And I'm going to talk more about that later. But Meanwhile, we still gotta try to get control over our health and our weight and our lack of exercise. I tell people that I'm too tired to get home from work when I get home from work because I'm too tired to plot my revolution. They keeping me too tired because I'm just too tired. Can't do nothing. But this is the extent of a revolution. It's just a revolution of our minds and ourselves. It's nothing about white people. This is going to be on us doing for us. Stop it with the crime, even the petty crime, even the little things. The way that works is this. You remember me talking about the goddess. I haven't gone over the goddess's rules yet, but among the ones I'm going to talk about is crime. You don't want to sell your soul for a pencil, okay? Or $1. You don't want to sell your soul for $1. By that I mean if you steal anything, it's the same weight against you. I I want to call it the stealing from the dollar store rule. You ever go into the dollar store, right? The Dollar General store, the Family Dollar store, right? And the staff there is looking at you like you're gonna steal something. One day I was in there and I was looking at because I'm cheap, so I'll read the labels and I look at stuff and I compare and think about it, looking at the ounces per penny or per dime. How many ounces how much is this per ounce versus this size per ounce, and see if I can get a bargain or get the better bargain. Like if I get a 32-ounce thing for half price, but if I get one twice as big, is it going to be, how's that going to wind up with per ounces of the ingredient? Other things I look at on the label, like you might have a dollar store brand object versus a name brand. I'm reading the label to see how big of the dose on the name brand compares to the dollar store brand. For example, if the dollar store brand costs a dollar less for the same size as the name brand, but you got to use double doses, then you really lost money. So that's the kind of stuff I look at in the store. So I stand there and stare at labels. At some point I noticed a staff member staring at me to see, and I said, "Why is she looking at me?" And then she's still pretending to do something else, and then I said, "Why is that lady still over there looking at me?" I said, "Oh, she thinks I'm gonna steal something." And laughed at myself, and I said, "No, lady," to myself, "I ain't gonna steal nothing out the damn dollar store. If I'm gonna steal, I'm gonna steal out the expensive store." And that's what I'm talking about. You still gonna go to jail either way if you steal. So you done stole something cheap versus sold something expensive. If you get caught, you're gonna go to jail for either store. I call that stealing from the dollar store rule. When they do petty crime, when they do little crimes, you're still selling your soul. You're selling your soul for $1 versus selling your soul for $5,000, $500,000. They still have the same weight when you're smudging your soul. By smudging your soul, I don't mean you're gonna go to hell by some deity who's gonna toss you in fire and brimstone. I'm talking about a smudge on your divine consciousness on you. You have just reduced your own self. Stealing isn't about you going to hell. It's about you dirtying your own soul, which is making you less than what you would have been. You can't get to your next divine level when you keep putting weight on it and dirt on it. So the same dirt and the same evilness that's in you that made you steal or let you let yourself steal is the same evilness that's going to stay there. That's the problem. It's not about you going to jail, it's about you choosing to be a being that's horrible. So you're going to be just as dirty and smudged up for $1 as you will $5 million. So it's going to carry the same weight. About crime, if you be prior to this and you heard that it's a bad thing, prior to this, if you committed crimes, those are crimes before you had the knowledge that you're dirty in your soul, own your soul. But now that you have heard it, then you got to do the things to make it right. Here's how. It's going to be three parts. Whenever you commit a sin or do an evil or wrong somebody, you got to make it right to right the balance in your soul on your everlasting divine self. The first part of making it right is to be truly apologetic, humbled, and sorry that you did it. You got to honestly be sorry that you did it. Second part of making it right is replace it three times over. That is, if you stole something for $1, you got to give back $3. If you can't give it back to the person that you did it, they moved on, you can't find them, you honestly, legitimately can't find them, then you got to give it to charity. It's got to come away from you. You got to give up three times over. And then the third part is don't do it again. Never ever do that again. You can't do it again. Those are the three parts. Got to make it right. Three parts to making it right, and that is don't do it again, pay it back, and be truly apologetic. Sometimes, if you can find them, and you said something wrong, and you really believe that, and it's not about them forgiving you; it's about you apologizing. If you can find them, but if you can't, and many times you can't, you still gotta be apologetic in your heart. And part of being apologetic in your heart is proving that you're trying to make it right. And by paying back in charity or something, and never doing that again. And that's from this point forward. Okay? So and from this point forward, you can't just do that kind of stuff. But all the stuff that you did prior to this, you got to make it right. I've done things that I got to make right, and I'm working. I'm doing it too, and it's gotta hurt, and it's gonna hurt me because I gotta give money to charity for something I did wrong, and they're long gone and stuff. But and it wasn't stealing, it wasn't stealing. It was something else. Um, for example, if even if it's not a person, if say you're texting on the road, and this is not what happened, that well I got to pay back, but if you're texting on the road, say, and you accidentally hit a squirrel or a deer and or some kind of creature, and you feel bad about it, that's your conscience telling you that you're supposed to feel bad. Now, no jury in the world would convict you for hitting a deer on the road when it jumped out in front of you. But if you feel in your heart that if you hadn't been texting or whatever, or hadn't been paying attention, even if you were on the road by yourself, if you feel in your heart that if you hadn't been paying attention, you probably could have avoided the deer, and you probably wouldn't have hit it, then that means that your conscience is telling you you got to make that right because you did a wrong and you wronged the creature. No law will convict you. Nobody in the world would say you were bad, but if you feel it in your heart, then that's what I'm talking about. So you got to make it right. You can't dig up the deer. I mean, you can't bring the deer back to life, but you will be. But if you're feeling that you're truly sorry that you did it and apologetic in your heart, then that is the regret. Okay, and that's fine. You can have that regret, but now you got to try to make it right. So, among the things you can do is donate to charity, to some kind of wildlife fund, whatever figure that you're comfortable with in your heart. That's a figure um, that you can do, and you're okay with it, and you got to figure that figure out in your head. Fine, donate that money to charity, whatever the figure is in your head that you're going to do. Be truly apologetic, and and finally, don't do that again so you won't be texting and driving again. Okay? That's what I mean about making it right. Other kind of crime, like if you were a student who stole something from somebody in your 10 years ago and you still remember that you did it, that's your conscience telling you that you got to make that right. So figure out the value of that item in modern times. Like if you stole something that cost $10, you got to give $30 up. Okay, be truly apologetic and never do it again. That's how that works, and that's for every kind of crime and every kind of wrong you do to anybody anywhere. Okay, sloth. We all have that, and I know that white people talk about us being lazy and da 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 da. That's not the kind of sloth I'm talking about. I'm talking about mentally. That is, when you are letting other people think for you, that's the kind of sloth I'm talking about. When you're letting people who shouldn't be thinking for you do that. Bad manners, rude, arrogant, nasty, displaced anger. We got to talk to each other a little bit better than we're doing. That's all I'm saying. We put up with a lot of crap from white people all day long, but as soon as somebody black does something wrong to you, you want to just give them both barrels. We can't do that anymore. We've got to really work hard at being patient with each other. A part of I honestly believe that part of the reason I got so many proposals of marriage because men wanted me in their life forever because I was never a bad mannered, rude, arrogant, nasty female. I never was. But I can the other side of that is that I could say any negative thing I wanted to, but I wasn't rude or nasty or arrogant about it. I just told them the truth and I told them politely and that was it. And I talk more about male female relations later. But we give each other the worst time and we've got to treat each other like we're very precious. And I do. That's how I treat people that I meet, especially black people. One day I got on the subway and there was all black faces on there and I couldn't keep the grin off of my face from seeing all my black brothers and sisters on that subway. One young man that was close to me started flirting with me and he's like 20 years younger than me. Telling me I was sexy as heck because he was so glad to see a smile from a sister. I've smiled and said hello to a black men and I've seen their whole demeanor transform. That was a strange lady saying hi. And that's all I was saying. And he was so glad that I had a smile and a hello that the man's whole demeanor changed. And he knew I wasn't flirting with him. He just knew that I was giving him a greeting. That's important. Shouldn't be rude, shouldn't be arrogant with each other, shouldn't be nasty with each other. And all of that is a form of displaced anger. We have rage against white people, but they're not the easy target. We each other are, our family, our friends, strangers. So we've got to stop that displaced anger and channel it into something functional, such as taking care of other black people. That's functional. Okay? So that's phase two, part one. Phase two, part two is don't adopt any new white friends. I cannot, when I decided to stop adopting white friends, now, first off, I do have old white friends, and I must have hit the friend lottery when I adopted these white friends. I mean, long ago, I had white friends out the yin yang in the 70s. They were all over, I mean, they were just as good as any other friends I ever had because these were nice people, and they were nicer than the people that you're meeting now. I stopped fooling with adopting new white friends back in the 90s, mid 90s, thereabouts, about 94. Because every time I turned around, there was something else nasty, something else negative, something else sneaky, something else undermining, conniving. These aren't the nice folks that I knew. These aren't the kind of nice folks that I was meeting in the 70s. Okay, these were nice folks in the 70s. But even in the late 80s were the last white friends that I adopted as close friends. And I haven't seen them in years. But if they were to listen to this and see me, and hear me, they would say it's about time. Where have you been? We've been waiting on you. You should have been in there a long time ago. Because they know that I have to do what I have to do. Only thing they would regret is they're not able to get away from white people themselves. So yeah, they say they would say, "Go for it, kid. We'll just get an umbrella and try to duck when the crap comes our way," because they know that if they do know me and they know me well enough that I'm not going to sit still for too long when I feel an injustice is taking place. And they would say it's about time. That's exactly what they would say. It's about darn time. These old school white friends that I have, and these are people who paid their dues. No racist would have found a safe harbor with them. one racist female tried to find a safe harbor with friends that I call friends, and they shunned her. And they were still shunning her years after I had long since been on my way. As I found out because I was catching up with old friends on the phone, and they said, when I asked about this lady who did this racist thing or tried to specifically, they said, well, the last time I saw her, she came by, but nobody had said nothing to her, so she left. And that was it. The lady was still being shunned after 3 years after, and I've long since gone on my way. I had gone back to school. I had been in school for about 2 years, and I was just catching up with the people at my old job. But they shunned the racists. That's what you do with racists. Don't give them a safe harbor. And this bunch of white friends that I had didn't. They ostracized her. I can't say that about the ones that are in modern times. So around mid 90s, I decided to stop adopting new white friends. So I don't socialize with white people. I do not socialize with them. I don't want to hear the crap. I don't even want to hear a sympathetic voice from white people. I feel like the racism problem is their problem and they need to be fixing it. I don't want to hear a white person say anything to me about race or how bad it is or what da da da, because I don't need to be the one that you're saying it to. I don't need to be the one hearing it. Other white people, the hard audience. Black people is the sympathetic audience, or the easy people to talk to. White people are the one where you got to do the work. So white people who are um, believe in equality of the races and all this stuff, tell it to the white folks. Talk to your friends and peers. Talk to the crazy uncle. Talk to the nephew. Talk to that boss. Talk to wherever you see somebody doing some nasty stuff. Because right now they wouldn't be doing that if they weren't finding a safe harbor. Are finding people who are silent when they're doing that. So, no, don't talk to me about it. Talk to them. I don't want to hear you. And I'm not the one you should be talking to. So, I stopped socializing with white people, and I cannot tell you how much peace I have. I cannot stress that enough. I feel so liberated. So I don't socialize with them, but I do work with them. And when I'm at work, I'm jovial, I'm um, friendly. There is nothing to indicate that I don't socialize with white people after work or go to social events with them. I don't hang out with them. I keep them at arm's length after work. I'm done. But on the clock, I'm going to be professional. I'm going to be friendly. I'm going to be whatever I need to be to help get their work done and do my part because that's what I signed on for. After work, I'll still be jovial right until I get home or on the subway if I'm still there, but I don't spend a lot of time. I won't be spending a lot of time talking to you friendly after work because I got to be on my way. I'm done. I'm off the clock. And so, yeah, so phase, even if you do have white friends, phase them out. If you do have white people, for example, if you're at a club or a party or something and the first white person that says something to get on your nerves, leave. Leave. Go away. Take yourself home. Find your own transportation because I would recommend that if you do have to go to some office party or some kind of something that's got a lot of white people in it, have your own transportation so you can leave when you get ready. This lady who said the racist thing, I knew she was going to say it, so I was already gathering my things so that by the time she was finished saying it, I was able to say something like, oh, yeah, look at the time, I've got to go. And I left. And then that's when the people that were left there, they were white, pounced on her. Because I left and I didn't hear a thing. But they let her know that she didn't have a safe harbor with them. So don't fool with people, and there's always somebody who's going to say something to get on your nerves. Don't rely at this point in time, don't rely on other white friends to stop white people from doing that stuff, and nor should you have to put up with whatever fallout becomes of somebody white saying something stupid. You shouldn't even put up with the fallout. You should leave. And if they come creeping out the corners talking about, I'm sorry about so and so doing that, say, don't give it another thought. Say something along the lines, don't give it another thought. And then when they finish doing all the little sneaky stuff behind other white people's back as they trying to make you feel whatever I want to say comfortable. Let them finish, but don't fool with them no more. Don't fool with them or anybody else that was there. Don't fool with white. I would say don't. I cannot stress how much peace you will have if you stop fooling with white people. So let's phase out the current white friends and try not to socialize with any new one. And don't fool with white people that get on your nerves. Okay. Um, some people, what I said, hearts are not in the right place at this time. That's what I mean. They're not the same ones that was from the 70s and 80s. These are some nasty people. Unfortunately, the nice people aren't stopping the mean ones, and they need to or they needed to. Whatever, it's not our problem. We need to be focusing on ourselves at this time. I would say don't befriend black people who are dating white people because they'll bring them around you. Don't befriend black people who hang out with white people because they'll bring them around you. You remember that a few weeks ago, one of the guys from California, black entertainer who had a friend that brought a white lady over who proceeded to tell the cops that he did something to her and they all circling on his house with helicopters and junk. That was a black friend or a trusted friend who brought a white lady in his house. I would say that shouldn't have happened. Don't befriend people who have white friends. Don't um, um, befriend people who are dating white people. Okay, don't over you again. You can still socialize at work and all of that, but don't adopt them. Don't let them be close to you. They White people are carrying too much evil baggage spiritually right now. They have got a spiritual contagion going on, and it's diabolical. That stuff is contagious. You don't want that. Okay, and I'll talk more about it later. Don't let white people into your home if you can help it, because they're bringing their stuff with them, plus they observing what you have. These are folks that get jealous about anything. I swear to heaven, when they in the 60s and 70s, when they were interacting with black people in their homes and they saw that black people, even though we had next to nothing, we still made comfortable places to be at inside as much as we can. That's because we done painted the walls and did some interior decorating by hand ourselves until we made a place look like something we liked. They don't have that ability because that's not what they do. They do crafts and things like that, and they do nice stuff, but they are always going to be jealous of what we do. They bring that resentment in the house, and then they go out and be resentful outside of the house. So just stop bringing them in your house. They don't need to see what you're doing or what's going on in your home. They don't need to be sitting at your table. They don't need that, and you don't need them in your house. There's no reason for them to be in your house. Keep them out of your house. Keep them out of your environment. Keep them out of your spaces. Don't don't fool with them. You will have so much more peace. Don't let your kids bring white kids home. Don't say it in those words, but your kids need to know that. And I would also recommend that you tell your kids not to tell what's going on in your house. Just keep it. Have your kids tell your teacher or somebody whoever's got to know what's going on in your house to call you and tell it. Let them ask you because you don't. They don't need to be knowing what's happening in your life and in your home. If you have to get a psychiatrist to certify that your house is conducive to learning, so be it. That'll be a good thing to bring up with Dr. Umar Johnson because he's working on that kind of stuff. So that's phase one and phase two. Phase three, I won't say yet. But right now we are ready to start phase one. We've already done phase one, so now we got to do phase two, part one and two. And then we're on the way. Just got to work some things to work on. Okay. Thanks. Bye bye.